The industrial Internet of Things is actually the key enabler for all the technologies that we're talking about here, from edge computing to AI. It basically provides the connectivity that allows us to push new versions of software to systems in the field, as well as to get data back from these systems in the field, so that we can actually build much faster feedback loops and much higher degrees of automation than what we were able to do in the past. And that, for me, is the essence of the industrial Internet of Things. One of the big challenges that most of the companies that I work with struggle with is that everything has to change at the same time in order to make digitalization a success. We all know that you cannot change everything at the same time. We have to take it one step at a time. So the best way to move forward with this is to find those chunks where you can decouple a change from everything else in the organization, and then over time grow the chunk that you are changing until you have the deep integration with your enterprise information systems. Every new technology starts off as a luxury and over time becomes a necessity. The Internet, the industrial Internet of Things, is no exception, which makes it sensitive to certain negative effects that may happen, anything from intentional, more terrorist kind of attacks to natural disasters. The only way that we have to work towards that is to build systems with resilience. Resilience you typically achieve by having multiple instances of the same thing living inside a system, as well as having proper defense mechanisms in place. For instance, in security, it is very well known how we build secure systems from a technical perspective. And if we can make sure that people follow the principles that are dictated by those technical principles, we can actually have very high security. So even though many people worry about disruption by both intentional and unintentional forces, I believe we can build systems that are resilient and secure to use and will benefit humankind and society. Many of us dream of being in a startup where we can start from scratch and everything, there's no constraints, there's no legacy to deal with. But for the vast majority of us, that is not the reality. We have an existing system, an existing, you call it brownfield context, in which we have to provide changes. And I think that this is good, because if you look at all the major changes that we deliver in society and in industry, these are not radical, disruptive things per se. They are actually very slow, gradual improvements that we build in our systems. But the interesting thing is, if you come from the outside, those things that you on the inside knew were slow, iterative, evolutionary steps, from the outside they look like big disruptions. So in that sense, I am not so concerned about brownfield environments, nor the focus on security and resilience. We will build gradual evolutions of those systems in order to take them into the 21st century.